Now.
Now?
I said now.
I think it says now.
It says now. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, welcome. Season 2 is coming to an end.
Come to an end. I mean, every good thing needs to come to an end at some point.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not needs to it, but it does.
You got to make way for better things later.
Yeah. You need to evolve. You need to advance. You need to change. You need to grow. Right?
Yeah.
That's all the good words people say.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, the idea with season 2, or at least this part, was to dive deeper into programming, give you a kickstart in at least C++ to get you going, and then, like I said from the outset, this was never meant to be like the ultimate thing. This was hey, let's have a chat, let's learn something, let's try to have some fun, let's relate it to games in some way, and then this should be like the platform for you to go and go further. I mean, I'm setting you free, basically.
Like that from chat. Code School Season 2 ends.
With a curly brace, yes.
A closing curly brace.
Yeah, because then that's when you call it destructor and you close everything and you delete all the resources.
Delete.
You don't remember anything anymore. No.
So,
Yeah.
what's the first thing for today?
I don't know.
I don't know. You haven't told me anything. You told me Visual Studio is open on your computer. There's a Chrome browser open on your computer. Don't touch either of them. And then now I'm sitting here, so I'm just... What do we do now?
I've been really, really... So put on your headphones.
Okay. Enjoy your squished headphones from Hamish's giant head.
Yes, no, they're fine.
Okay, that's good.
You can open your Chrome.
Okay.
But don't hit play.
Okay.
So that's more for you. Let's see if this works. Because I was like trying to figure out how do you make a video work. Yeah, you can go to mine. That's not... That was yours.
No, that was double coding.
Yeah.
I had to split. Okay.
Okay, let's see if we can time this nicely. Because the audio needs to be desynced. So when I switch over and you see the video playing,
Okay.
you can hit play and we should hear... Let me know if audio doesn't come out.
Well, you want to just do the Windows test real quick?
Oh,
just
sure.
to see?
We can try that.
No, you have to... No, restart OBS.
I always need to restart
It's a
OBS.
strange issue. I don't know what it is.
Oh.
We'll figure it out. Hey, Hamish.
So now?
And it'll come through in a second. Yeah, there we go. All
There
right,
we
we're
go.
good.
Are you ready?
Yes.
So we should see a video. No. Isn't actually needed. But I wanted to teach it in a very specific manner. And it works in that because it's a generalized language, and that's fine. The reasoning for that is what I've been teaching you is actually C++ code.
Oh, snap.
And
Should I full screen you?
Remember yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. You debated me.
Yeah. So this is the game in C++.
Is it the same code?
Yes.
Okay.
There's like a couple of lines.
you have to change, right?
Yeah,
That's
I
not
remember that.
You remember
So
that?
the game is actually, or the code that I have been
Remember
teaching
that?
you is
There's a
actually
couple of lines we needed to
C++
change.
code.
All right.
Almost. It's like 95%.
We were debated this entire
95%, right?
We were debated.
We were
See, I
debated.
was right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hi.
Hi.
We can take off the headphones now.
Okay.
So, for those who haven't seen, this was the end of Season 1. This was the big twist of Season 1, where even though we were programming in processing, we could copy-paste that code into C++. We had to change a few lines, but it worked. It was the same. And we went a little bit over. But, so remember that game we made in Season 1?
Yeah, the zombies.
Yeah, top-down shooter. We had all sorts of bullets and guns and a lot of fun, right? Remember that I kind of went over how it worked, like the C++ thing? But I didn't go into the details of that. And I skipped over a few things, right? Remember that? And I said a bunch of things like, ignore this bit. Like this is just a C++ thing. Don't worry about it, right? Well, guess what we've been learning over the season?
All the things that you said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You're like when you watch a show and you're like, whoa, they planned that out from the beginning. And it all just comes together, and you're like, wow. I did it.
So, let's switch over to my view. We're at my view, basically. So let's start with this thing in the beginning. So before we go into the bigger reveal, this is a library called Raylib, R-A-Y-lib. It's named after the creator, Raymond Santamaria. He's Raysan5 on Twitter, and he is, or I think he was a professor, and he made a graphics library that he's been working on for now years and years. I think it's 6 years old now, where the idea is that it's kind of meant for teaching, the graphics library. And what I have now done, since the idea with season 1 was to see something visual and make a game. Idea with season 2 was to go a bit deeper into the lower level part of it, learn about the bits and bobs, but I still felt kind of bad that we didn't have a lot of visual things to do. So then I thought the idea was, let's convert the game over to this Raylib thing and then release it out to you guys. So now you can then use the things you have learned from season 1 and season 2, using the code from season 1, and yeah, you would have the same game. You can play with it. It's actually a lot simpler with Raylib. It was a bit trickier with SFML, which I showed you in the end. And in the description, it won't be here on Twitch, but in the description of the video, we will have the code on GitHub. So we will have the code from season 1, we have the Raylib, and there will be like a short tutorial on how to get things working. So yeah, if you hit a 5, so open your Visual Studio, you should have the same thing.
Yep.
You do. So if you hit a 5, he will see the same thing. So you have a congrats, you created your first window.
Yep.
Cool. This is using OpenGL, no Vulkan, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's good enough for now. You'll see a bunch of technical stuff in the background, so if you're into the more techie things, you can see that. And of course, if you want to use Raylib on your own, you can do that. They have a lot of examples for this. Cool. So shall we look over the code?
Yes. I'll close all that, I guess.
Yeah, you can close it, yeah.
I should stop debugging. Or not debugging, but running it.
Yeah, stop running it. So let's go over. So this is an actual example code from Raylib. And let's go over all the things here and what we have learned and see how much of it is applicable. So what's at the top here?
I mean. Oh no, it's the include Raylib.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It's including whatever the library is that is Raylib.
So in season 1, I said, like, ignore that. Now we've learned about project structure. So we've learned about includes. And we've learned that I can click on this, I can hit F12, and yeah, here's
get a lot of information about
Yeah.
what it includes, which is a lot of stuff.
It's very big.
Yeah.
Then we have our main.
Yep.
We've done that many times. We haven't gone into this because we haven't had to. These are just the arguments. So if you want to run a program with arguments, it has that. What are these two?
That's the screen size. It's resolution.
Yeah. What's the type of it?
Ints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been learning a lot about that.
Yeah. That was like one of the first things we did in season 1.
Yeah.
We had to set up the window where everything exists.
Yeah. So here is init window.
Yep.
Which is a function. And as you can see here, we learned that we can mouse over, you can see the type. It's a function. It returns void because it doesn't need to return anything. It takes in the int width and int height and takes in a title. Here it uses a const char star, which is an older way of using string, but it's just text. And the nice thing here as well is you can just hit F12. If you want to go into the details, just here's how it works. But there's nothing, like, look here. It's an if and an else, it's an int. There's here's a pointer with an arrow thing. Here's a trace log. Yeah, you see this? Yeah. Oh, look at this one. You like this one?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like it if it was a bit bigger number.
You can make it bigger.
Yeah.
You can say 144.
But will it break the physics of the game?
You make the physics.
Oh.
I think there's no game here. You make the game.
I want to make black hole physics. Can I set
So-
set target FPS infinite?
I don't think you can. So here's a loop.
Yes.
We've learned this before. While window shouldn't, like, while it shouldn't close, we can go in here. We can look at the function for that if you want. But the code here isn't that tricky. It has some helpful hints about where you should put your variables if you want to update them.
Wait, this is like it's only 61 lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, continue. I thought there was like way more. I kept scrolling. I was like, where did it all go?
Because to actually put something on screen, you say begin drawing.
Yeah.
You clear the background with a color.
Yeah.
You draw text and you put text in. You put here where the text should be,
Yeah.
how big it is, what's the color of the text, and you end the drawing.
Yeah.
Simple, right? So if you turn this into black, hit F5, there you go. If you want to make the text bigger, there you go.
Congrats, you created.
Went out of the screen.
Yep.
Right. And that's it. And then close window. All right.
Yep.
So, okay, let's do a thing.
Okay.
Here's core basic window.
Yep.
You can right click on it and hit remove.
Remove.
Yep. We don't need it for now.
Okay, it's gone.
In the core basic window CPP,
Yeah.
if you right click on that one,
Yeah.
add existing item.
Yep.
And
Ooh, I don't have a lot of that stuff.
no, you're in the right location. I was in the wrong location.
Okay.
So if you do the flow, you should be
In examples.
yeah. Just for those who actually get the same thing I do, it's projects, Visual Studio 2017 examples. There we go. So look at this. Here's box, core basic window CPP, enemies, NGON utils, which we made last time, and the player CPP. So just skip the VCX project files. Everything else but that. Those three. And hit add. Then you can right click on core basic window.
Yeah.
And hit build.
We're building.
Mm-hmm. Didn't take long. Is it successful?
Yep. One build, 1 succeeded, 0 failed, 1 up to date, 0 skipped.
Hit F5. What's this? Hit space. Remember this?
Yes.
It's a little laggy because I have 5,000 enemies, I think. A bit laggy on my end.
Mess them up.
Yeah?
The nostalgia of this beauty.
Right? It's a bit laggy right now, but we're also streaming.
It's getting better.
Getting better. Fewer enemies.
Oh, there we go. I'm smooth. I'm smooth now.
You want to see on your end? If you swap over to yours?
Oh, mine's empty though.
Oh.
Like I won.
You won. Oh, you're
But we have a few bullets stuck. I remember we had talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about that. Of why that happened.
Nobody saw. It's it's gone.
No. Cool.
Go back to you.
Yeah. So let's look over core basic window. So we still have this because it's still based on the example. I can just minimize that. Here I'm including player H and enemy H.
How do you minimize? Oh, there. Yeah, got it.
Yeah, it should be a plus minus.
Yeah.
I made the screen as 800 by 600. I rename it to episode 10. So remember this? Yeah, Bob.
Yeah.
So Bob, we can look at the constructors in a bit. So Bob starts at location 0, 0. How many enemies? We want 5,000. Here, the same thing. If windows are closed. Here's the keyboard handling.
Yeah.
On key type, they're not getting released. Here's the update, where we send in the bullets and the bullet count. And here we begin the drawing, and then Bob draw, enemy draw, and drawing. That's it. That's it.
But there's tons of stuff.
So now, because in the series itself, we have been relying on existing, but we haven't been relying on existing. We're learning about the basics. We're learning about what is a function, what is a class, how can we build things on top of other things. Now we are relying on an entire library. And this just shows that even though when you know the basics, it is useful even when you're using a library. Because here you can see that there's a function here called begin drawing. We know it returns void. I can reason about that. Here's a function called clear background. It takes in ray white, whatever that is. So here you can see it's called clear background and it takes in color. And then we can think about, there's a type called color. What is that? Maybe I can go and click on this. And I see this color thing. I can click on that. What is
a
it?
bunch of different RGB values.
So look at what color is. It's a struct.
Yeah.
With RGB and I for transparency. this is kind of the C.
Opacity instead of opacity.
Yeah, this is kind of the C way of doing structs. But this is, if you look at this part, it's the same. So you can always hit F12 and go in and look at how things work. So yeah, let's look at box. Look at our box. Good old box.
Good old box.
Has an X and a Y.
Yeah.
Has a height and a width. Remember what this was for?
Didn't we need it to set the collisions?
Yeah, we needed it to move because we might. Yeah, it has to do with the collisions because we might not be allowed to move.
Yeah.
Yep. The valid thing was a C thing, and I can show you why in a bit. Because we don't store a pointer to a box; we store the box itself. So instead of deleting the box, it just goes away. Then we have the two constructors. You see, it's the same as before. It takes an int ax, ay, int a height and a width, and we have our draw. Okay. Let's look at the functions themselves. Remember this one? There was a whole episode about this one.
Which one? Oh, yeah.
This is in the box CPP.
Yeah, that is point inside box because that was when we were getting stuck inside the box, right?
Mm-hmm. So this was the collision detection. The AA. It's called AABB.
Yeah, because we did. It would work fine if you collided like with a corners or something like that, or not. I don't remember what it was, but you could go inside the box and like get stuck basically.
If you went like under and over. Yeah. And then you can check on many boxes. And
box
constructor. See, it's what we've been doing all season. It's the same as before. The difference between Raylib and other libraries, Raylib has a lot of things. It's usually called just having global functions or having just functions available everywhere. So if I include Raylib here, I also did it in the main file. I included it here. Then I can draw. Because there's only one drawing surface and only one drawing state. There are other libraries where you have to like give it the window to draw. But it's just a design decision. It's a way to simplify teaching. So here I can just say draw a rectangle. I give it an X and a Y. I give it a width and a height, and I say it's going to be gray in color. So now I can hit here. Hit F12 again. Yeah. So see, it's a function calling a function calling a function. Well, here we go. And this is OpenGL code.
Oh, this is like graphic stuff then?
Yep.
So I get things to render on the screen?
Yep. Yeah, you're translating, which is moving to the location. You're rotating it if it's rotated.
So is this what it like? No, this is what it looks like. But this is kind of the framework for what when you render something out in the like a graphics rendering. Like, that was really complicated for me to say. Apparently, that's what it looks like. Okay. So you have to write extra code to get it to show up.
Yep.
Oh my god!
No, don't think about this.
Yeah.
No, this is just a handy way of, like, you can say draw a rectangle, but you can also say draw a rectangle by using vectors. So he's just converting the X and the Y to a vector. And then he's also, what was this one for? These are just helper functions.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the actual thing to draw a rectangle. So, and then he says, okay, I'm going to make quads, which are two triangles next to each other. And then, like, where are they going to be? Location of them. So this is more math and linear algebra kind of thing. Because a lot of graphics programming is linear algebra. But you can see that here it is. It's just calling functions. All right? But the update here is the same as from season 1. So, on key typed. Here's on key pressed. It's the same. And then on key released, it's the same. So, and yeah, same with the enemies. And then here here's something we haven't done before. You knew a box of enemies, and then you delete them here. We didn't really go into dynamic arrays because we went straight from them to vectors.
Okay.
And that's kind of the idea today is to convert this, and possibly if we have the time to convert the bullets here, these, into vector, because that's what it is. It's a vector of boxes. Okay, so shall we look into that?
Sure.
See if we can convert it. I will most likely the version that's going to be online is going to be this version. I might put the vector version as well, but we'll see if we put that up. Cool.
Yep.
So shall we go converting?
Yes. Do we go double coding?
We can do double coding, yeah. So let's look at what needs to change and who uses what. You have to
Wrong mouse.
move things over. Okay. Let's start with enemies.
Enemies. I need
So
to
if we
open
just
that one.
close the others. So the important bit when you want to convert stuff over. So here we see that in enemies H, we have a pointer to my enemies. So my enemies is a variable that stores a memory address. The memory address is going to store a box. But this memory address isn't going to store one box because here we asked for many of them. How many? Whatever someone sent in. So the first thing we need to look at is where is it being used? So we can see that in the core basic window here's enemies. And someone sent in 5,000. That's the thing that's being sent in. So enemies is constructed with 5,000, which is how many we are asking for.
Oh wait, I don't have. Which one is this? Enemies.
Enemies. We're only going to working with enemies CPP and H. Oh yeah, you can just move it. Yeah, cool. All right. So we want to use a vector instead. So if you go to the H file, we can include there. Include vector.
Oh, wrong language on the keyboard.
So then instead of having a pointer to my enemies, we want to have a vector of boxes, which is then, I'm going to call it the same, my enemies. Whoops, big B for big box. You're all over the keyboard today.
That's normal.
Yeah, great. So, as we learned before, vectors is the collection of a thing, so we're going to have a collection of boxes. Great. So if you go to the CPP file, it's going to be complaining. So it's going to be complaining saying, hey, you can't. So it says no operator equals matches these operands. So doing a new box, which is going to give us a memory address on one hand, and then storing it in a vector, that's not going to work because vectors don't do that. But we still want an A count of enemies. So if we say my enemies, and it is called
Box.
my enemies.
Yeah.
Here, so we can reserve a count because we know we're going to have at least that many of them. So this is just to, I'm going to allocate how many it says. This isn't going to new it. This isn't going to create them. This is just going to make space for them, just so we don't, because regularly a vector only has a space for nothing, and then you add it, it will allocate one. And then you add another one, it will delete and move, and then allocate two, and then it will delete and move. So just to prevent that deleting and moving all over the place, because we know we're going to add a bunch of them, before we do anything, I just say we're going to have that many.
Get ready.
Get ready for what?
Get ready. Get ready. It's coming.
Yeah, get ready for the memory. Yeah, totally.
Get ready for what?
Yeah. Okay. So here we have a loop. We can keep the loop. It's fine.
Yep.
We can just say here, I'm going to use a count, and you'll see why in a little bit. So instead of saying my enemies I, I'm going to say my enemies push back.
What zoom are you at?
I'm at 199.
Okay, I'm gonna move it back a little bit.
I can go back as well. Give me a little
So
space.
here, my enemies dot push.
So we're going to add something to it.
Yes.
And what we're going to add to it is a box. I can just copy this line here and say something like that. So I can zoom out
This
a little
whole thing?
more so you can just see it. I'm just, instead of saying that the ith element in my enemies is a box, I'm pushing back an enemy.
Oh
Right.
wait, whoops! I put the ith element.
Nope.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoops.
Great.
Do we get rid of? Yeah, we get rid
Yeah,
of that.
get rid of the other one. So we're only pushing back. Which then means, because we're not using dynamic memory anymore, you're all about the zoom today.
Yeah,
There we
well,
go.
I can't see.
It's okay. That means that we don't need to delete, because the deleting of the dynamic memory is handled by vector. So I can just remove that. I can even just remove the function here, the destructor.
Goodbye.
I don't need it. I can also go here and remove it.
Instant replay off.
All right.
Okay.
That was an action moment
Yeah.
of deleting the destructor.
Whoops.
All right.
Going back to the CP. No, where are we? Yeah, enemy. Or it's the same file.
CPP file, yeah. Okay. So now, we'll here update, we're looping through, and we're drawing. Okay. So we can actually change this loop here from this old style loop into a little bit nicer of a loop. It's going to be a little bit much, but that's okay. I'm going to say auto reference, which is the ampersand. I can call it enemy, and I say my enemies. That's it. So what this is doing, if I can zoom in a little bit, is saying for every element in my enemies, call it enemy, but don't copy it. This means just don't copy it. So this is like almost, you think of it like a bookmark, or just giving something a different name just for a little bit.
I think it might be better if we just swap over to yours.
Okay.
Instead of just how it prevents
Yeah.
zooming in and zooming out constantly. Because then you can just sit full screen on yours.
Yes. So I can actually be like this. Yeah. So this is just saying, don't. If I do this, it will copy the value from the vector into the variable. Then when I'm modifying it here, it's only going to live inside this scope, and then it will die. So if I modify it in the loop, and the loop is over, then all the modifications I did were done. But if I do this, I'm saying with the actual item in the vector, not a copy of it. Which means that instead of my enemy's I thing over here, I could just replace that with like that. One more. There we go. All right. You let me know when you're up to date. Mm-hmm.
Oops.
See if there are any questions in chat.
Got a bracket. Yep.
No. We need a method which name is kill, so we can kill my enemies. Yep. We could probably do that. Or you could do that. That should be pretty easy to add. All right. So we have this. And then the same thing for draw. We're just going to go through and so for the loop, I can just say auto enemy, my enemies. And then instead of my enemies I just say enemy. Just like that. These are much nicer as loops. So this was added in C++11 instead of the older style loop. So this is much nicer and shorter. So you can just say for every value in the. So cool. Are you good?
Yep.
Good. I don't think there are any others. We might look at. We might delete a few more in a bit. All right. So let's just see if this compiles.
Okay.
So we just right click, hit build, see what happens.
Build.
Yep, it builds. So we see if we have any bugs. Let's run it.
Oh, wait. I got an error.
You got an error?
Yeah. Oh no, what is, I don't know what that says.
If you swap over to yours while I'm killing enemies. You didn't delete the destructor in the H file, I think. If you go to the enemy's H, yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Build again?
Yep. And then you should be good.
Yep.
Cool. There we go. I'm also killing enemies here.
It's a race.
I won because I started before you.
Damn it.
Great. So you can see that swapping over to something more dynamic was pretty simple. Like there was a few things you had to know about, but it wasn't that much.
Smooth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got one stuck still.
Yeah. I think we had a bug fix for that. I might have pulled an older version.
Oh, that one doesn't.
Ah, yes. So this was the other bug.
That only wants to work if it goes through the corners.
Yeah. So this was the bug that was the challenge from the last
Yeah.
season. Like, can you fix this bug where it goes through? I think the fix was that we reoriented the collision. Yeah, I think I might have pulled an older version of the code because this was fixed. Cool.
Go back to
I'm surprised it doesn't run faster. So there is a so here's the collision detection. There was an optimization that you could do because here we're actually checking for every collision when you can actually early exit and say like, hey, we actually don't want to, like if you collide on the top left, we don't need to do the other collisions because we know already you're going to collide. That helps a bit. And then there was one other optimization. Oh yeah, that was a little bit harder to implement because you would only collision detect within like a region you were in. So you'd have to create like a region-based system where if you're somewhere in the space, you only had to collision detect with other boxes around you, not the whole screen. Because now it is, even though if it's in the top corner, it is checking if it's possibly going to collide with something really, really far away. So that was another one. So this was more of a simplistic implementation. Yeah. Sounds good?
Yep.
I think we don't, so we don't actually need enemy count here because we needed it for the loops. But now, since we have this kind of loop, we don't need enemy count.
So you can get rid of it.
We can actually remove that, which means we also go to the header file and remove enemy count there. We can recompile, make sure everything is okay. Yep, everything is okay. Hit F5. Still pretty happy. Maybe you can show people that haven't seen this before, maybe how it is with a little fewer enemies.
Where's my enemy count? I think I missed one.
So here it is.
Oh wait, I think I have a my enemy count here that it's not happy with. This one.
I used a count instead.
Here, or this whole thing.
Yeah, and for just the my enemy count, I used a count because it's going to be the same value.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
No, I think you're good.
I want to build.
F5 does a build.
Oh. Alright, we're good.
Again, yeah, pretty slow, but
It's getting there.
good.
One little shot here that's taking out some people.
Cool. Okay, if you swap over to mine real quick. For those who hadn't seen, so with the enemies, we're doing a random placement of where the enemies should be in the screen, and with the bullet thing, that was down here on key typed. When the key is space, we set the horizontal and vertical. Basically, what is the horizontal and vertical movement that you're going to be doing? We set that to random from -5 to 5, which just means that you'll go everywhere. And we had a bunch of people from last season make all sorts of types of guns where they do like a sine wave, and you can totally play with that. So there is one homework kind of to take away from the season to see if you could do that, and then we're going to end it at that basically. So it's not going to be that long of an episode, but a little bit more for fun. If we go to player H.
Player H.
Yeah.
Ooh, short one.
So I think I'm gonna turn this into a kind of a takeaway homework thing because I want to see like it shouldn't be that hard. So it's somewhat of a challenge, but it isn't that much. It's basically here you have a box of bullets also, and here we have a limit of 500 bullets. It is to turn this also into a vector, but that vector has to have an upper limit of 500. So once you've hit the 500 bullet mark, you can't. You have to destroy the last bullet. So that's the thing as well. You can't have infinite bullets. You have to have, and that you could have infinite bullets. What I'm saying is, but in this case, the restriction is that to have 500 bullets or some sort of limit, which is trickier than you think because you need to go and delete old bullets. Like once you hit 500, if you hit 500.
It's like when you're shooting on a wall and then suddenly you're trying to write something out with your bullets
Exactly.
and the last ones start deleting themselves.
Yeah. So use that with a vector, but that then also means you need to update all the collision code. That's why it's a little bit trickier. So this here, instead of taking like that, it needs to take. Oops, let me delete here. It needs to take something like this. It doesn't matter if it's like this. We can also do it const, which just means that you don't change them, because when you're colliding with something, you don't change them. But anyway, instead of taking a regular array of elements like this, you take a vector of bullets or boxes. So you would have to change the whole code here that goes into the update and this collision thing here. Yep. So that would be kind of the takeaway, homeworky kind of thing. All right.
Nice.
Cool. Let's see if we have any questions in chat. Because otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed season 2.
Let's swap over to our cameras.
We can do that.
Huzzah! Hello.
Huzzah. Yeah, I wanted to end with a little, because I've been kind of planning this of.
It all came full circle.
I've been trying. Like it doesn't work perfectly, but I've been trying to make some sort of a twist at the end as well. Not as big of a twist like in season 1, where it's like, oh, it's an entirely another language, but more like, remember this from season 1? You've actually been learning it without realizing it.
You didn't say hi, Gabe, today though.
No.
You said hey.
I did.
Is this changing times?
Times are changing. Like I said, things change.
I don't like change.
No, it's okay. Yeah, but like we've been saying many times, this is like a journey. It will take a long time to learn. You need to keep practicing every day. You need to keep working on it. You need to learn from different people. Yeah, this is a thing you need to work on, and it takes time, and that's okay.
Cool.
It took me time. I've been programming on and off since like '98, and I don't think I'm good at it. I still do a lot of mistakes, and that's okay.
He's a liar.
Okay.
So season 2 might have come to an end.
Yes.
But we will still, I don't know about next week, but we will definitely come back and do some stuff on Friday. We just kind of need to plan that out a little bit more.
We've been thinking of like an after-school special or something. I don't know.
Extracurricular
activity. We've had some ideas.
The issue is that we actually move very soon. Like there are boxes everywhere for packing. So it's just a matter of figuring out what fits. Well, do we start something right before we move, or do we wait till we move and we're all set up over there? Yeah. So we might just be back and just play some games and hang out.
Could be fun. There were some programming games I talked to you about. We could try those. Yeah. We could just play games. We can have fun. The thing that we've been planning, there would probably be an NGON video about that also. But then just stay tuned. Look at our Twitter and join our Discord and have fun with us. Yeah. So yeah, even though season 2 is over, it is.
It's never over.
There's more to go. I mean, we have Beyond FPS as well, which is like more. Let's look at the more lower level hardware parts of it, and if you have any ideas, let us know as well. What would you like to learn? What do you like to do?
Cool. Well, thank you for season 2. That was to you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was fun.
But yeah, we'll see you guys around.
Bye.
Bye.